Hello, everybody. This is Rishi Brandon Stafford with expeditiousfool.com, putting mindfulness in motion. Also founder of Fellowship of Universal Truth, Yogic Ministries. And today what I want to do, I want to talk a little bit about why it is I do what I do. And like the title suggests, why it is yogis move the way they move. And when I say yogis, I mean people of the yogic tradition that have obtained self-realization. They no longer suffer. They've merged with that God source, and they've decided to stay here and straddle that wall that comes from a parable that Ramakrishna used to say, which is one of my favorites. But that's not what today's to talk about. But those yogis and why they move the way they move. Because a lot of times it can be confused with other traditions and other people that don't have that understanding, that claim spirituality in the way that they move. So I want to clear up a lot of those things. Also, to explain a little bit of my personal philosophy, my personal dharma. So if you're watching this, you probably already know that I'm on the social medias a lot. All of them. Now, none of them do I really use for personal. So in case anybody's wondering, I don't. Even my own. This little guy right here, sorry, he wants to join us. This is Babaji. He's my newest little friend. But he wanted to join us, so I give him some attention, some airtime. Say, hey, Babaji. Hey. All right. Anyways, so the reason why I do what I do, if somebody listens to me from an outside perspective without attending a session with me or a class with me or knowing me on a deep personal level, you could look at a lot of my stuff and you could be like, wow, this guy's got some ego. And his business is about transcending the ego. I don't know about him. You know, his yogic ministry is even called Fellowship of Universal Truth. Like there's only one truth. What's this guy all about, right? But the truth is there is one universal truth. And when you obtain a certain level of self-realization, and yes, there's many more levels. I don't know everything. It's not possible in human form. That's for the other side, right? There's limitations on this limitless body. There's another paradox for you to explore a little bit. But what it is when you've obtained this level, and this came through many sufferings in my life, many struggles, and many years. I've been studying Eastern philosophy for about 18 years. I would say that in the past few years, I just started to finally get it. So it's a hard thing to navigate. It's the hardest thing anybody will ever do. But the reason why I say all of these messages, it probably confuses a lot of people. A lot of people are probably trying to think that I'm trying to convince you. Right? That would make sense. This guy has a business related with it, as well as, he knows the truth, right? So, it would make sense that I'm trying to convince you. Here's the trick. I'm not. No yogi is ever trying to convince you. Period. Now, maybe somebody that does yoga asana, they might be trying to convince you. That's true. Yeah, they need to put butts in there on the mat, so to say, right? However, whether I have a packed out house at one of my yoga classes, or I have one person, or I have no people, guess what? I still feel exactly the same. I am doing my dharma. My dharma is to be a lighthouse for truth. My dharma is to be a lighthouse for Krishna, for Shiva, for God, goddess, however you want to define it, for Kali. It doesn't matter how we define it. But that's my whole dharma. That's my whole life. I surrendered what I wanted it to be a while ago, before I started this business. I surrendered who I was before that, period. And then it started to evolve and become what it is. Now, why do I do daily videos? I do those as a free help, honestly. A lot of people, they look at it and they're like, oh, this is a promotion, because there's a lot of spiritual businesses out there and they do things like that as a promotion. No, All of my videos, every single one of them is literally free information, free advice that I normally charge people for in a class to spend time with me, to spend time in that energy. But I offer these videos on YouTube, on the social medias. I offer them as a free resource for those that want help, for those that want to achieve a different understanding, but maybe they don't have the finances right now. And the thing I talk about, I'm not trying to convince anybody. I don't mind answering questions. I don't mind answering questions on any of my posts if you're genuinely inquisitive. But I don't go in depth on any of my posts. And if you followed any of my social medias where I have some people that contradict or they really want to go into, something I've posted, because it is fairly deep stuff that can't be explained. I mention this a lot just in quick text. The thing is I'll give you, a couple quick answers that hopefully bring you a little bit more understanding on it. But after that, I tell them to book a session with me. Is that because I'm money hungry? No, it's because literally it would take a lot of energy to try and explain. And the reality is most of those people, they're just trying to combat the information that they see based off of their 5 levels of kleshas that they have going on. They're still dealing with those modes of suffering. So it would take a lot to try and break through that. And truthfully, they're not asking me to break through that. They're asking for a quick answer on something that takes a lot of personal work, and it also takes a lot of personal preparation. Now, I understand that everything's happening perfectly, so those posts or the video came into their field for a reason, asking them to grow. That's not my responsibility. That's also not my attachment. My attachment is to be that lighthouse for truth. Anybody that wants to hear truth, learn truth, can come find out. I teach ABC. If you don't want to know ABC, there's plenty of other places for you. Now, if you're trying to spell a word, if you're trying to make a sentence, if you're trying to write a paragraph or a book, guess what? It's really going to be important for you to learn ABCs. But if you don't want to, that's completely fine. Everything's working out perfect and everything is in line. I have no intentions of convincing anybody. Nobody could have convinced me. Hell, I studied this stuff, like I said, for 18 years now. And even 3 years ago, I've had my business for going on 2 years. Even 3 years ago, nobody could have convinced me. I had to prepare myself. My karma had to work out, and I had to come to it on my own. Now, there are tools and tricks and tips that I learned along the way that definitely escalated my process. And that's what I teach, that escalated my process for when I was ready. But it had to work out in its own time. So I don't try and convince anybody. What I do is I remain this beacon, this frequency that I hold here, and I hold this space. That way, everybody who is ready can hear it. They can go into it deeper. They can learn the tips and tricks that I had to learn that ended up, allowing me to soar when I was ready. Now, the flip side of this, a lot of people that are in the spirituality business, this is kind of an interesting, funny thing. A lot of them say they are healers. They say that they've reached that precipice where they can help you heal. They might be able to, some of them. But if they have not healed whatever that specific thing is they're trying to help you heal, they're not going to do it. That's not me talking anything bad about a specific group. That's literally just me saying. When I say I've transcended suffering, it's because I've transcended suffering. Pains still come. I'm still in a body. I still have a nervous system, a highly active nervous system, which I've learned how to control. Used to have fibromyalgia. Don't anymore. Used to have severe depression and suicidal ideations from age 8. Don't anymore. Used to have high anxiety. Don't anymore. These are all ways of suffering, right? So that's how I can tell people that I can help you transcend that. I won't just bring something up in you in an experience and then leave you sit with it to deal with it, right? So that's why I've created the organization that I have, Expeditious Fool, and the donation-based organization being Fellowship of Universal Truth, Yogic Ministries. That way people can really dig into this when they're there. I'm not going around canvassing, but I am going around speaking. I'm going around teaching. Why? Because anybody who's already ready will see the validity. They'll hear it. They'll resonate with that vibration and they'll tune in. If somebody else is not concerned with that, that's not my concern. If somebody else thinks that what I'm saying is wrong, okay, that's fine. I don't even ask any of my students to believe what I say. Kind of like this shirt says, practice is everything. I do ask all my students to try it out for themselves. Practice. Some techniques work better for others. Some people can do silent meditation all the time, and that's beautiful for them. Some people, they can find it through yoga asana. They can find better understanding. And then there's many variations of yoga asana. Some people need that breath work with the asana, that kundalini. I'm a kundalini instructor. Teach it every Friday, plus one-on-ones around the world. So with that, that's a situation where some people need that. Some people need to have the intellectual understanding, right? They need books and they need me to be able to quote scriptures to them and quotes from sages and all of these things. This is what being a yoga teacher, meaning to yoke in union, is about. It is not about being fancy. It's not about being flexible. It's not about being popular. It's not about doing what's catchy during the time. And none of my videos are for that. They're very, very simple videos. You can see I don't do a whole lot of the flashy effects and things like that. It's not because I don't know how to do them. It's because they're not necessary. What's necessary is the words, the voice, the message. And those that are ready to hear the message, trust me, they see the validity in it. But I want to, like I said, do this video. That way I can really stress out and express out the reason what sets Expeditious Fool out or the Fellowship of Universal Truth Yogic Ministries out from a lot of what you see. I operate in that maybe 1%, if even that, probably a 0.01% of the population. Because most of spirituality, they don't move like I move. Most of spiritual business, they don't move like I move. Most of them are really attached to outcomes. It's true. That's just another karma that they have to work out, and that's fine. I tell some people this, and I swear to you, they probably think it's another expression of ego and like, I'm nothing. Brandon is nothing. Reason why I'm Rishi Brandon Stafford, the yogic seer, is because Brandon Stafford went away. That guy went away. Now this is all God's mission, Source's mission, however you want to define it, doesn't matter. That's all this is. That's why I'm able to do it all day, every day. That's why I'm able to do it without miss. I'm able to get out this information to everybody because what's powering and flowing through me is not my own. It's not my own desire. And that's also why I can be non-attached. Whether I win or lose, that's part of the game. It's already written out in a book, whether or not I win or lose. Not an actual book, in karmic scripture. But that's the way it is. And that's how I move. So I just want to let everybody have this clarity that's watching or anything else. And truthfully, probably the naysayers, I'm probably going to start sending you this video. That way I can save the energy from trying to go back and forth in something that I'm really not trying to convince you of. You know, if you disagree with anything that I say, that's fine. That's your truth for the moment. When you're ready, that's when you can come, you can listen to my videos, you can come to my classes, and you can really get information. Or if you're not quite ready, come to them, hear it with an open mind, and maybe practice something out of them. And as you practice, figure it out for yourself. Figure out where you're resonating at right now, because that's all that matters. All right, everybody, I hope that this video really, really helps. And I hope that it gives a little bit more clarity on who it is that I am, what my Dharma is as that lighthouse, that God frequency here on this plane, in the most non-egocentric way possible, and to let you know, what it is that I'm here available for. I'm here to teach everybody those tips and tricks when you're truly ready. That's my post on just about everything. When you're truly ready, schedule a session with me. Then I can try and work on giving you some tips and tricks for you to eradicate the rest of those egoic tendencies, those compulsions, those things that are causing to avidya, that non-knowing of your true nature. Because that is the main klesha that all suffering comes from. That's when we create the ego, the likes, the aversions, and then the fear of losing those likes and aversions that we've collected. That's all suffering, and that's what I help people transcend. So I hope, like I said, that this gives you a little bit more clarity on that. Have a great day on purpose, and stay mindful, everyone. Namaskaram.